Yes, I've started the recording. Good morning, everyone. Once again, we have 50 plus participants. So we right time that we kickstart it now. So after all the models that we've seen in the previous classes, we have few more models left, which I'm going to finish it off today and then
Module number?
get
What is
into.
module number? Ma'am, what is module number? Today's
It's not about the number. You may look at the topic. The last one was Gagney's 9 events. So today's model is, the first model that we're starting with now is this successive approximation model, SAM, we call it. It's there in your book, not to worry. So this is successive approximation model. Again, I would see this as a simplified ADDIE model, which is designed specifically to elicit some feedback and build some working models, that has been created earlier. This model itself uses a recursive. It's not a linear process; it's a recursive process for your course development, basically. So this basically contains three parts. If you can see in the picture: preparation phase, iterative phase, and iterative development phase. So the key word here is what do you see? Iteration, which is the basis for this model, and the signals that each step is meant to be repeated, revisited. So that's how this entire model is. So the preparation phase, if I have to start with, this phase is it's all about information gathering, setting the context for the project. Context and scope, of this particular phase will vary depending on the project that you take, depending on the course that you're giving. Okay, so end of this phase of this particular model I'm talking is kind of a savvy start that we give, wherein we encourage brainstorming, sketching, prototyping, and you can involve many parties so that you develop the material. Parties in sense your colleagues, your advisors, your mentors. Like you would have picked a lot of information from all of these stakeholders during your career. So you can bring some proper resource pool kind of a thing, and starting this with information gathering is the first step. And the second step is the iterative design phase, wherein the goal here is to design and prototype the material so that it can be evaluated. Yeah. So it is easier to give feedback here itself, evaluate the product, then again revisiting it, testing it later. It doesn't work that way. So iterative design is the key here. And in the third phase, iterative development phase, the finished prototype from your previous phase is fully developed, fully implemented. So once it is used, it is evaluated and run back through the development phase, through the implementation phase. So your information gathering to the background gathering, whatever, then you're doing some designing, prototyping, and reviewing, and then you're developing, implementing, and evaluating. So this is what is SAM all about. See, many of you may teach the same course every single time for every different client. So you're probably already using some form of SAM in your course. Okay, you likely notice something in your in any of your project that it did not work because you had intended. So you make changes to that particular segment alone, or to that particular module alone, before the next client visit, or before your next project. So you may look something like this now. You gather the materials, yeah, you do some brainstorming, create a prototype, ask for feedback, make changes, and then implement. So it becomes an iterative process. So this is what this SAM model says. So this is the idea about it. Okay, so the next model here is, the next model in your pipeline is agile prototype. What is agile? Just a quick question to all of you. What's agile? Agile means?
Something which can be molded or shaped very easily.
Okay.
Dynamic.
Gathering information.
Now everybody, all your thumbs on the Google. Understanding what
Agile
it
means
is.
fast, ma'am. Agile means fast, adaptive.
Adaptive. Molding, getting molded.
Quick, doing things quickly.
Doing things
Proactive.
proactive, right. So now this means the most innovative and responsive instruction designers like us.
Ma'am,
Today,
before going ahead or jumping on the agile, can you please share some example on SAM so that it will be a little easy for
Sam
understanding?
is more into course development. This is actually this is a plain concept only. That's why I didn't give you any particular example of it, because Sam helps us to bring a course design. We bring a any course that you are working on. Say for example, you're working on time management. Okay, so time management, what is the information gathering that you can do? What are all the information gathering that you can do? Preparation phase. Because my question here is, time management is one age-old topic. Every single trainer will in their career would have given this topic to their audience. So now how best or how creative can I give it to my audience? So I am trying to do it as a first phase in terms of the preparation phase. I'm trying to gather some information. So what could be happening in this first phase? Any idea? Any idea that you'd like to share?
Understand what sort of tasks are supposed to be done by the
Identify the
learners.
problem areas
Need analysis.
where the time goes, where the time is actually being invested. And say, for instance, if there are 3 to 4 segments, how much time is going in which segment and the relevance of that segment. Is it
So
worth spending so much of time or not?
absolutely. Somewhere you work on
Having a
it.
pre-assessment for everything and then
Correct. So you do the pre-assessment, maybe some with the prioritization, how is the team prioritizing, all of this will happen, basically. So with whom do you do this? Basically I'm asking, with whom do you do this? If you're doing this for a 20 plus audience, so who are the stakeholders involved here?
Their supervisors, the managers, probably. In some cases, it could be the clients.
Management, HR.
More specific? Client management, other than that, can I get some specific?
HR also can be management.
When you do the need analysis with
Ma'am, even
the need
HR
analysis?
usually has the data for,
Learners.
say, for instance, if there's a punching machine system, even HR has the data. So I think we can even get the data from
HR. And more importantly, the boss of the team, the supervisor of the team.
Yeah, managers,
The
project
department
managers.
It
head.
is also
Yeah.
dependent
Supervisors,
on
yes.
the reports of their performance.
Exactly. All of these would be information gathering. Okay. So then what you're doing is you're trying to get some project ready for them, designing phase. You design something for them with all the knowledge that you have. You create a prototype. Okay, chalo, this is what is going to be my model. I mean, my training module. And you try to get this as a prototype to your known source itself. Maybe you can give it as a pilot run through, and then do some changes. This is what this particular iterative design phase is. You're trying to review the prototype so that you're not going on any changes in the implementation phase. So this is a very simple model, as you can see this. So here this SAM model is talking about if you are planning to do a time management. So I would design, you'll be able to design the modules. You'll be able to design the phase. You'll be able to design the run through as a prototype, whether it is an online course or an offline course or a hybrid course that you're planning, a 40 hours course, a 30 hours course, how many hours you're giving up. So you can always see, if you would have seen, there are some free courses that are being offered by the training delivery people nowadays. Have you all heard this? People give 1 hour of free session and then get into the paid mode once they opt for that particular session, the training
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
session.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we
Yeah.
follow
This
that.
is
We
one,
follow that.
Lots of them, lots
typical
of them.
example. This is one typical example for your Sam. So what
Yeah.
you do is you run through the topics, the outlines alone, and then through that prototyping happens. You're trying to plan the project, understand the audience, and then you review it, do all the changes in the design, and then out of some 100 participants who have registered for your free course, if you're able to bring in some 50 inquiries and narrowing it down to 25 assured participants, and you're implementing this time management skill to them, that is SAM for you. Okay.
Ma'am, one question.
Yeah.
Does these iterative sort of models, like, is there any suggestions or guidelines with respect to how many iterations or what sort of timelines should one set? Because
Depends
a
on your,
designer can-
Anika, it completely depends on your timing only. The model does not
Okay.
suggest any kind of timeline
Hmm.
or with whom you do, how you do, and all that. So it is only about you getting the right product for yourself. Because it's all about customization. We all know, no one thing fits every single group. So time is all about you and the client. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now, can I move on to the next model?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So now, agile prototyping, as I said, innovation. Yeah, today, we as instructional designers are, embracing this agility, the agile process in the development of whatever product that we are building in, whether a proper e-module, by using your technology, a training product using technology, or a traditional classroom course, or whatever. So this agile process expresses itself as spending your time developing some working products, but not documenting the process. You're developing some working products. So it's always about human interaction. It's not about processes, tools. It is about how you involve yourself as a human, what interaction that you're giving in to prepare that model, engaging in in an ongoing customer collaboration instead of contract negotiations. You impose something with the audience. It is not that. It is based on collaboration with the human interaction. This agile prototyping will help. And it also helps us to respond to changes. Rather than, following a simple plan and all that, you can always respond to changes. Somewhere, SAM is also, SAM and Agile and are all, kind of, work similarly. So any software application that you use to construct these kind of training programs are naturally built to accommodate any kind of agile instructional design process. So for IDs like us who have become now proficient using some training software, we are well equipped to apply an innovative and responsive approach to building a training program. Then we are actually working on the concept of rapid prototyping, which is actually a term which is borrowed from manufacturing. So this will decrease some development time. This will decrease some costly mistakes that we do. This will make your product, your training product, a lifetime one. So what is this rapid prototyping all about? See, IDs like us have started to build a program only to realize that we want or need, from the plan as and when a new client comes to us, when we are committed to a project plan's completion, we have to wait until we deliver the first draft or deliver the first program before problems are acknowledged and corrected. Somewhere we would have started this. And when we are in the agile state of mind, using all this rapid prototyping, problems, issues will be acknowledged, and then they will be addressed and corrected as and they arise. Because clients' need keeps changing. And any training program is conceived to respond to any set of circumstance that will change during the development. Yeah. And when circumstances change, what happens? The development team with an agile mindset will quickly adapt and shift the plan to something that accommodates that situation. And we all make this mistake. When the development tools is supporting some rapid prototyping, work is getting lost. But the product and the project are easily adjusted when you do this properly. That's what agile prototyping says. Here, you're trying to be, I'm making it as simpler again. You're trying to be an innovative instructional design. That's it. Today we're all in priorities. Your clients are having a lot of priorities, lot of plans to the changing circumstances. So the most innovative design will work on the rapid prototyping tool that will support an agile product. Okay. So what you can see in the, the image is the best practices that is all around your construction of a training program. Can you all connect the dots and see? There are dotted lines that is connecting to every single thing, person to person, from the objectives to designing to giving feedback, so preparing templates, documentation, yeah, whatever through meetings, through workshops. So you jumble here and there and see this is what my client needs, and quickly and swiftly I will make a 2 minutes Maggi masala to my audience. So if you ask me, this is a very reliable kind of a training module. I am not talking about this is the only training module, but this model you can incorporate whenever required, wherever required, as a 2-minute Maggi kind of a thing. That's all. So this is what is agile prototyping. Yeah? Yes? Can I move on?
Ma'am, actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Like agile prototyping, when can we implement? In which situation we should implement agile prototyping?
Okay, your client suddenly wants a change in your one module of your time management. And they say, initially they say people are not prioritizing, people are not, being on time, no delivery properly done and all that. Suddenly they say, madam, can you also address on this particular topic wherein we want some positive mindset, to work in the, in the working atmosphere that they have. So you try to quickly engage a lot of other things that you can put in forth to your audience. That's it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so
Dr. Andy, one question.
yeah,
So it's
ma'am.
like while we are giving some session or something, if like after taking a feedback, if we don't like, if the audience doesn't like the way we are saying, then we would have ABC plan or something like that. Then shifting the plan also will come under agile prototyping.
Shifting the plan will not cause, sometimes it will be a costly mistake, as I said. Sometimes it may go wrong. But before the training delivery, anything is fine.
Okay, fine. Got
Yeah?
it. Thank you.
All right. So I am trying to finish this by at least 12:45 so that we'll have some time for the activity to be done. Okay, so that's why I'm giving the gist and moving on quickly. So now, what do you see in this model?
Dick and Carey
model. Yes, Dick and Carey model. So here, what is this all about? Let's talk about it. Instructional models vary from model to model. The instructional model, and they basically, the framework of each of the model varies from model to model. Some will focus on how to make the lesson plan. Some will focus on the delivery of the content. Yeah. What is this Dick and Carey instructional design? This is also called systems approach model. This is going to talk about how you make the lesson plans. This will help you to make the lesson plans basically. So it starts with identifying the instructional goals as you see in the image. So the first step is to figure out the instructional goals. So this means that you're able to identify what is your audience wanting to learn, need to learn. Yeah. Let me take this with an example. Okay. If you are teaching a course on history, okay, let's take a vague topic, history. So you would probably, teach some lessons, pertaining to which region we're talking about, which pre history or post history, or exactly the years and when did the war happen and all that. If you're teaching a class on English history, then you're going to talk about the lesson will have topics like, what is the war about? What is the gunpowder plot? Okay, when did this happen and how did this happen? And all of this will depend on what kind of material your overarching theme is covering. So a class between, a course on history and a course on English history itself varies. So identifying the instructional goals matter, and that is where you conduct an instructional analysis wherein you determine the skills that your audience want to learn. So you plan to teach them. Say, for example, in the same history topic, some may need to have a love for history. We don't love history. I don't personally love history, so I'm not talking about, a typical training program, but I'm picking this as a rare course which you will be able to understand. Okay, so because the love for history is instilled in them, they are willing to sit down and listen to you. Others may simply need to be, able to work on the lesson material at their own pace. So will they need to know some background about the story? Or will you be teaching an introduction to the war, whatever your topic module is all about? And therefore, you're giving the introductory lesson. So if you're teaching on any particular war, you have to take into account what they may or may not have already learned. So conducting that instructional analysis is all about that. What is your audience wanting to learn? What is the audience going to gain through your session? And the next is about entry behaviors. Learners' characteristics. You have to assess which skills out of all those that you've determined are needed for this particular lesson. Say, for example, in the history course, you want to determine that, they should be able to remember the dates, the born date, the death date. Someone is not good with remembering dates, what happens? You may have to help them with, right? So they're not able to sit long time with you, or they have trouble talking, they have trouble in memorizing. So these skills will be crucial for the lesson's success for each student. That is how you write the performance objectives.
So basically, ma'am, with the end result, what we want, that's the end result, and we move backward.
Exactly. So now, in the performance objectives, you must figure out the specific goals and objectives for the lesson. This is, we call it as AWBAT. I mean, or the LWBAT. The learner will be able to, learner will be able to, LWBAT. That means, the objectives must be detailed so that the learner will be able to identify what is the purpose of the war. So those details will help you make sure that you're teaching your audience what matters most from the lesson and what is meant to blow up. So you're noticing that you have not got into actually teaching, and these are the steps that will give an outline on how to make the teaching effective, your training effective. And then you develop some criterion reference testing I'm talking about. So here you create a test that will reflect what you're hoping to teach your audience. So referring back to the materials you have given, you have prepared, will help you figure out what to test, right? The pre-test and all that. So these are meant to help your audience understand what they have mastered or what they have not mastered. And it's a checkpoint for the administrators also. So you can ask questions about, that particular war, or, how a person was caught and put in jail during, the World War, who was involved, maybe what was, meant to do. So if you give some videos to them, they'll be able to make some notes. So the information you hope that you gathered, could also be on the test. So it is about criterion reference test, we call that way.
Ma'am, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Especially in regards to your example of a history class, wherein they really struggle with the dates, especially. So, if applying a flip chart, wherein they work on it in the class itself,
Correct.
will that help them to retain it, like on the spot
Absolutely.
to do it, but the memory part, wherein they need to retain the information and reproduce it during their examination, will that facilitate it?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. That is why I spoke about conducting the instructional analysis is important. Once you identify the instructional goals, you conduct the instructional analysis and revise the instruction also. So when you revise, you will let your participants, you will understand who your participants are and how to retain this information to them.
Correct. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
And the next step is about instructional strategy. You begin to outline your lesson plan. You'll be able to demonstrate what you want them to learn. Add activities, as Sneha said. Decide how each segment will be done. If you want to have some group activities, it is the time to decide when and what materials will be covered by the activity. So when they work as a team, your what do you call, the remembrance of these years and all will happen. I took an example of history because it can be easily understood. That's why. So you are trying to use what they know to create a presentation for them as a pre-test activity. So this is one idea. And next step is about instructional materials. You make sure you have what you need ready for the lesson, basically, the course curriculum. If you have something you already know, you will work, you'll use it, but it is all about scaling up every single time, bringing in new information. If you're giving a test, then again, you have to make sure all the corrected test sheet also happen if in case you are revising the curriculum, so that it is always ready to go. So instructional materials, are very important, that will have to align with your training delivery, your test, all that. So that's what it means. So next is evaluation. You would have to evaluate how the course went, right? Were there learners who were not too thrilled with the group work, or group not work well, or did some of your learners sit back while others did all the work? Yeah, so you could use this particular time to go for a work in smaller groups. Could even do a one-on-one if you have a facility wherein you understand, you try to evaluate, do some formative evaluation. Then you can also do a summative evaluation. Some formative, summative, all these comes in your forthcoming classes, in the evaluation topics basically. So if you all, it's all about revising. Summative evaluation is all about revising. If all of you, teach or train any particular thing on World War, you have a good opportunity to revise the class always, right? There will always be a grumbler in the entire audience. So if it works out well, a majority of the time, it's worth. But if there's one activity that no one has ever liked it, it would be worth truncating it. We do this in our sessions. Sometimes, during the PPT itself, if you have some extra slides, you cut it off and you move on, you skip it, right? So this step is all about making sure that when you restart the entire training process, it will work out. So you're simply looking back at your entire experience using the model. Did it work out for you? Did it create a better lesson plan that you had, a course curriculum that you had before, or did it work against you? Did you find yourself spending so much time on one area? So this particular thing will help you out. So to give you a synopsis of this model, this will be used in a classroom or in the business world, however you take it. So any subject in which the learners are expected to be able to perform a task by the end of the instruction, then your Dick and Carey systems approach model will help you. So companies, corporates could design their training or mentoring programs using this model. And this will help when there is a goal that is to be achieved, then this model is an example. So that's what this model says. Okay, so next I'm quickly moving on to Assure model. Assure model is an instructional system model that trainers like us can use to develop lesson plans again, which will integrate the use of technology, media, where the focus is on the learner and the overall outcome of accomplishing some learning objectives. So again, I would say this is also an evolving ADDIE model, which has 6 steps. The same way, this particular model is focused on planning and conducting some, instruction that incorporates media. Okay, this is how you can remember this. So the main perspective is understanding how to integrate media, any kind of media, into your instruction in a method that is capable of producing the outcome, the desired learning outcomes, basically. Okay. When I talk about Assure model, again, ASSURE, it is an acronym for each of the steps. So the first is about analyzing the learners. You all know this. Okay, to analyze the learners, you must examine the learner in detail. You take time in the beginning to examine the learners. Once you have an understanding about the group, a reasonable grasp about the learners, then their competence also, not just the learners, the competence of the learners. In the beginning of the instruction itself, then any trainer can modify to assist the learner group in their learning endeavors. That is the idea that this Assure model gives us. As part of your analyzing your learners, you're trying to identify who your audience are, right? Your audience, their general characters, the general characteristics, any specific competency they have, their learning styles. Learning styles we saw in the previous classes also. Verbal, linguistic, or who's visual or spatial, who's kinesthetic or bodily, or however, interpersonal skills. All of these kind of differentiation you will have as part of analyzing the learners. Then you set the objectives. Stating the objectives are statements that describe what the learner will do as a result of the instructions that you're providing. So objectives are the learning outcomes. That is what this particular step says. What will the student learn from the module? In simple terms, in order to develop this proper objective framework, you must frame them in terms of a desired behavior, right? What the learner will be able to accomplish after completing this instruction. So the objectives you use should be as specific as possible so that the learner understands what they want to accomplish. So if objectives are clear, specific, then it is one proper standard objective. So audience, their behavior, what else? Conditions under which this behavior will be observed, and the degree to which the learned skills are being mastered. All of these play a big role in terms of setting these objectives. And there are a lot of process also to define your objectives also, matters a lot. How you define your objectives, how you classify your objectives. It's a big process. And the next is about selecting your strategy, your methods, your materials, the media, whatever. So once you know your audience, you have a clear idea of what they should get out of this lesson, out of this module. Then it's time to select the appropriate method for the given task, the given need. Select some available materials, modify some existing materials that you already have, or design new materials to help them accomplish the task. Anything you will have to do in this step. So the instructor, we will be able to connect the audience to the objectives only in this step. So to connect the two, we must determine what method to use, right? So that is what we're doing here. So deciding on the appropriate method and choosing the appropriate method, both of this matters. Choosing a media format, like any kind of media. We've been discussing about all these in the previous classes, so I'm not repeating it. So any kind of media that you can use as per your program. So the next is, how do you utilize? Once you select, how you utilize. Utilizing the methods, media and material. Here in this step, it is where you develop your plan for implementing your media and materials. For each type of media or material, the tutor, the trainer, whoever it is, selects and describes in how they are going to implement the media into the lesson to help the learners meet the lesson's objective, the training module's objective. So the media, the materials and the technology that you have selected should be focused on carrying out the selected method, carrying out the selected method. So if you decide to use an electronic equipment, you have to be sure to use it before, right? You should have some practice before giving it to the audience, right? So it is important to practice the lesson itself before introducing it to the learner. So you're preparing the room for that. And this is what plays a role: previewing the materials, or practicing the presentation, preparing the environment, presenting the material, whatever. And then it is about requiring the learner's participation. How will you get this learner's participation? It is about how you are going to get each learner actively and individually involved in the lesson. So your audience learn best when they are actively involved in the learning experience. So whatever strategy you use, be sure to incorporate some question and answers, discussions, group work, hands-on activities, and the other ways of getting them actively involved in the learning of the content. So you should seek to pay close attention to your learners and feel confident that they are truly grasping the content. They're not just listening, they're grasping. And participating in this learning process will facilitate this level of understanding. Then you're evaluating.
Ma'am,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but what do you mean by media over here?
Media, materials, methods, all of this, it could be your tools, your visual aids that you use. We've been talking about many media earlier. It can be from your basic presentation to
Digital tools.
using a flip charts to using technology oriented Kahoot kind of a thing, anything. It can be any media. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So evaluating the performance of the trainer matters a lot. So evaluation should request all of you to mute. So the last step here is about evaluating the student performance. So your evaluation should always match your objective. This last stage is very important. You must evaluate the instruction process from the start to finish using the objectives you have created in the beginning, in the first process itself. So you reflect on your objections, you reflect on your instruction strategy, you reflect on your instructional materials, you reflect on the assessment. So this particular step will determine if the lesson was effective, whether any particular step need to be modified or re-examined. So this is what is the entire Assure model. So this actually supports the field of educational technology, if I'll have to say. Systematically designing some instructions, to properly analyzing, to selecting, utilizing, then, getting into examination, evaluation and all that. So this is all about the Assure model. Okay. So then the next model is about elaboration model. I will make the other models a little quick so that we move on to the activity. So the elaboration theory is about few steps. What is this elaboration all about? Elaboration will rely upon the idea that instruction should be offered to the learners in increasing order of difficulty. If the instructor wants to teach the learner a more complex problem, then we have to begin by providing the learner the most basic version of the process and then gradually present lessons that work up to the desired result. So throughout each of the lessons, the learner will receive a summary of the previous lessons so that they get a full grasp of the process. This is what this elaboration theory says. So,
Dr. Raghavi, just a thought. So when we talk about scaffolded learning or scaffolded evaluation, is that also part of this particular theory?
Scaffolded would be partly yes. Because here Reach Luth is talking about 7 different treatments here, which I'm going to brief you now. Maybe part of scaffolding will work. Yes.
Okay.
So here, what he says is, there are certain treatments. The first is elaboration. You're trying to organize the structure of your coursework in such a way that the lesson, the module that you elaborate upon, the previous lesson is in the sequence, conceptually, theoretically, procedurally. So the simple to complex theory. So each lesson must go from a simple to more complex sequencing. So sequencing, the module is all about having application of abstract concepts. It's not about real world basic steps or concrete steps, but abstract steps. Because you're trying to synthesize, summarize them. We're trying to encourage the learners to summarize when they have what they've already learned. and provide them with an overview of previously learned steps at the end of each lesson. So here elaboration is happening, sequencing is happening, synthesizing is happening, summarization is happening, and cognition is also happening. How learners acknowledge the lesson better when they are using their cognitive strategies, consciously or unconsciously. Say, for example, you're using some diagrams. That will make an impact on how the learner process and this learner is interacting with the learning material. Embedded strategy, that is what. So in addition to what the instructor is trying to lead the learner to a previously acquired cognitive strategy, basis upon some questions, specific questions that you ask them. Then there is a learner control. The learners, the audience group are, of your program are encouraged to have some complete control on how the instruction is carried out and the content is being learned by themselves. So, relating the content to the real world scenarios, or the knowledge that they pre-existingly have. So all of these are important as part of elaboration theory. So this is what Rijlund says. This theory is talking about these important elaborations. Yeah. So now the next model is the AIDA model. As the name indicates, AIDA. This AIDA model again is one simple model, which is again stands for its acronym attention, interest, desire, and action. Used more of as a marketing strategy that describes the steps a customer will go through in the process of purchasing a product. Say, for example, we will understand like this. This model was actually used in marketing, wherein a customer goes through a process of purchasing a product. Okay, it has been reviewed and modified multiple times over the years now, both in marketing and public relations. This particular model I'm talking about. So here, what they say is, the first point is attention. Any product that you give your audience must attract your customers' attention. Your audience are your customers, right? So this is going to happen when you have some advertising materials. So what are your advertising materials? As an instructional designer, what are all your instructional advertising materials? Any idea?
The lesson planning, the slides that we make.
Eye catchers. Okay.
Eye catchers, yes.
Yeah. Any sensational YouTube clip that you bring in as part of your lesson plan. Any themed newsletter or a graphic that is on a landing page. All of these could be attention grabbers. Maintaining the interest. The attention of the potential customer is already peaked. Now their interest in the product should be aroused. So what do you do here? As an instructional designer, how will you maintain interest? Any idea?
Ma'am,
It should
using
be
different
relevant.
materials, like different materials that we have, videos, reels, material at a different point of time during the training.
Right.
Say, the opening could be with a video probably, and in the middle I can use some games to involve, some puzzles to involve, some self-introspection questionnaire can be there. So this also speaks about me, how I have processed the entire thing. I have understood what is the need of the organization, and even since now I'm selling that to my trainees, they are getting more connected to me, as well as how I deliver it, with what zeal, with what voice modulation, like ma'am, how do people market? Say, for instance, how an ad gets market.
Yes.
So picking up few cue lines, I think that can also make a difference and break the monotony of the room also.
Right.
So cling on
Okay.
to us. Yeah.
Then how will you create
Or
desire?
sharing.
Shivam has raised his hand. So how will you create desire? So you have aroused the interest in your product. Then it is about us to persuade your audience that they'll have to own your product, right? So how will
Yes,
you
ma'am.
create desire?
And they will buy that what they require. What we can sell them only what they require. So when we have when there is an interaction round, especially when if I ask a question or they ask a question, I come to know what they are thinking of, and that also gives me an insight what I can offer them at there and there where itself. So I think a trainer's experience also makes a difference and how it is interpreted.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Also, ma'am, I would like to add here, like when the requirement is not there, to be able to create the requirement, because trainees who are at a junior level might not feel the need or the necessity of that particular training. So as a trainer, it is my duty to keep them aligned with the organization's objectives, telling them that this is the vision and mission, and this particular training is going to be aligning you with the company's vision and mission statement. So creating the requirement and awareness is also part of my job, is what I feel, ma'am.
Perfect. Yes, Mr. Shivam, you raised your hand.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. Actually, I wanted to answer the previous question that how can we generate the interest. And one thing which I have figured out, that is in storytelling, and that actually creates a lot of curiosity among people, as ma'am said, that by using pauses and of course, by using what do we say, different kind of sounds and pitches, we can create the interest. And second thing, when we create our product in such a way that it is solving your problem, then customers are genuinely interested to buy the product. And we should never sell the product, but I believe we should be a helping hand rather, because when we try to help, people actually purchase the things from us.
Perfect. So the last point is about taking action. As soon as the desire to buy is aroused to buy your product, to get your product imbibed, then it has to transform into action. End of the day, that is what we as instructional designers are working. Okay. So this is going to give them the confidence. Yeah. So, I mean, a very lighter model, but
Can I add an example?
Yes, yes.
Like pre-webinars, generally they follow the same strategy.
Exactly. Yeah, fine. Okay, so now quickly, I think we are done with the models basically. So I've given a gist of all the models. I'm moving on to needs assessment as your next topic. Okay, I am not going to teach what is needs assessment because you all know you're instructional designers. So I'll give you a quick refreshing thing about it, and then we'll move on to the activity. Okay. So needs analysis is simply the process of evaluating a performance issue or to determine the root cause, give them solutions. However you call need analysis, training need assessment, or performance assessment. It is again in any way it's a simple process of evaluating evaluating so that you determine the root cause of something. So if you don't know why a performance issue exists, you run the risk of creating a training solution for a non-training problem. So, too many times when we act as order takers for our stakeholders and start working on a training project, it is only until we are nearly done developing the training that we realize that it is not the right solution at all. So this realization will come from the context that what we have gained through the development of the training. It is about the type of information that a need analysis can help us to obtain before we start developing any kind of training solutions. So this is the first step, and I don't have to tell you why do we need training analysis and all that, but we all know how this training need works to a certain extent. What are all the important steps that we have to follow in terms of your training need analysis? But what is more important here is to quickly understand the 3 levels of training need analysis. The previous images are just for your understanding. You don't have to do anything with that. These are self-explanatory. That is why I'm not explaining anything. So, what are the 3 levels? 3 levels of training need analysis. Are you all having any idea about it?
No, madam.
No? Okay. Anyone in this group?
Ma'am, the 3 levels are dependent, as the picture shows, on the 3 categories. One is at the organizational level, one is at the level of the operation. So there the requirements will be different because they will be having a target. Suppose if it's a sales team, they will be having a target which they need to fulfill. If it's customer care department, they will be having to work on their CSR scores, like the customer satisfaction metrics. So dependent on that, whatever is the shortcomings in that particular department, we need to analyze that, the gap analysis, where they have to be and where they are, and what is causing them not to reach the target of their whatever is the whatever they have signed with their customer. And the final is an individual level wherein maybe we are giving a one-on-one coaching or feedback, and before doing that we again need to analyze where they stand and where we want them to be in a period of time and doing the gap analysis.
Okay, done. So these 3 levels, see, basically training need analysis will be done through 3 different levels. One is about what the organization is wanting to give. Say, for example, your organization wants to go for ISO certification. So you all conduct this ISO audit training. We all do that. Yes or no? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So basic need analysis. So that is at the organizational level, what all the organization wants to give it to the employees. The next is operational level, the role demands. Basically, these will be obtained through the interviews, through the performance reports of the team, the boss, in the department heads feedback. Through all of these levels, you'll be able to understand the need analysis that is pertaining to the group at the operational level. Then at the individual level, these are the need factors. These are the needs that I want as an individual. So through your performance appraisal reports, you get it. Through one-on-one sessions, you get it. So these are 3 different ways where you can understand the need analysis. So what we do here is you try to identify the problem. Most of the need assessment will start from identifying the problem, identifying the data sources, data collection, data analysis, and recommendations. So all of these steps will be scaled to meet the size of any particular project and instructional designer is working on. So when it comes to identifying the problem, this is about in consultation with the client, in consultation with the stakeholder, you request the instructional design services that you're being provided. So the purpose of the needs assessment here is identified for the instructional designer like us to begin the gathering, to begin the gathering of the data, so that the gap is being addressed, the performance gap is being addressed. So this is about identifying the problem, identifying the data sources through task analysis, as like Sneha said, direct observations or focus groups or interviews, document analysis, any existing work, reviewing the existing work, any survey that you've conducted. Through all of these sources, you get the data. Collect the data, then analyze the data. Analyze, it is all about identifying the patterns, identifying the factors that contribute to the problem that is being identified at the beginning of the assessment. So depending on those findings from the data collection and the analysis phase, the problems will be modified to be more consistent with the actual situation as your data says, and then you recommend. So this is what the need analysis. This is what your need analysis topic is all about. So now I'm giving you some questions like that you can ask how, as part of your need assessment, whether it is about designing a new course or developing an online course, which is face to face, I mean, based out of a face to face, or if an educationist, how do you develop a new degree program? So instructional designers like us are working in different sectors, education, or with the corporate, B2B, B2C. So we will have the authority to make decisions for an entire design project. So all of these projects will involve collaborating with the resource persons, administration, senior leadership. All of these people will be involving in large scale projects wherein the development of new program will happen. Changes to the organization is happening. So regardless of, who are involved in the project, it is important that every need assessment will have individuals who know about the issue, who care about the issue, who will help implement any changes that occurs as a result of the project. So those questions are important as to how you ask the questions, how you arrive at the important things that run as part of a training need assessment process. So with this, what I am going to do is, I am going to break you out into 62 participants are there, into time is 1:07 already. I'll break you out into 2 rooms so that, there are 2 teams here, basically. That's the understanding. So you are going to be 2 different teams. You're going to do one simple activity of doing a needs assessment. If you want, you can take click a photo of this particular page. This is what you're going to do. You're going to, do the need assessment, a general topic for which you want to develop an instructional program, who your learners are, what is the instructional need, and why do you think it can be addressed by the instruction that you're going to give, and the description of the learning need, okay, with some goal statement, which is clearly going to talk about the learner's accomplishment. So this is what I want from 2 teams. So 2 teams are going to present. So now the time is 1:08. So by 1:20, is it okay? By 1:20, you will be starting to present. The breakouts will close. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Super.
Okay, ma'am.
So if all of you are clear, please put in a thumbs up and move on to the breakout rooms that I'm going to create now.
Ma'am, can you please tell me one more time, like what we have to do exactly in a breakout room? One more time, please.
You are going to this is what I want. Whatever you see on the slide is what I want. So
Okay.
this slide, you're trying to get a general topic for an instructional program based on one needs assessment that you have done. And I want all of these points with a proper goal statement. You're going to discuss as a team, as a group activity, and you're going to present it to me. So this is what is the agenda. Yes, Lahiri. Are you all clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's clear, ma'am. It's clear. Sorry.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Sorry. It's clear,
Clear.
ma'am. I was on
Thank you.
mute.
Thank you. So here is what your breakout rooms are that are assigned automatically. So you don't know who your co-members are. Enjoy your breakout. I request all of you to quickly join the breakout rooms that's created. There are some 6 participants who are still to join the breakout room.
Dr. Raghavi, Dr. Raghavi, you there?
I'm here. Yes, please.
I'm sorry, I was a part of group one but got dropped because of the technical concerns. Would you be able to put me into the group one again?
One second.
The breakout room?
Room 1, right?
Yeah, group one.
Okay.
Ma'am, please help me put into the breakout room. I just logged off.
Yeah, sure. So how was the breakout experience?
Nice.
Welcome back,
It was
ma'am.
wonderful.
Good, ma'am.
Good, ma'am. Good.
Right.
Too much
It
brainstorming.
was the exact brainstorming one will have to go through before every training.
But I feel there could have been more time because 10-15 minutes for need assessment is really short.
Yes.
We
That's
need
why
a
I
little more
gave you
time, ma'am.
specific points itself.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
quickly, you stick on to those topics alone. That's why I
But
gave you.
ma'am, we had in group 20 people and we want everyone to contribute. So when we want everyone to contribute, then that time is really less.
Correct.
True,
correct.
ma'am.
Really,
Getting
might be
consensus
the
becomes a
groups.
challenge.
Absolutely.
The groups might
absolutely.
have been at least 4 so that less numbers so more contribution. There were only 2 rooms.
My
That is why
intention was that. My
Only
intention was that.
4 people could speak, and
Yes. Yeah.
everyone could not
Absolutely.
participate.
Absolutely. I understand the limitation of the timing. The limit, the so many contents will have to be, finished off by today. All of these limitations, I really wanted to too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah, I agree with Nikhil.
But
Yes,
ma'am, the
you
There
one
were
thing is
many
really
people who
nice.
wanted to. There was pouring in
All
of
right.
knowledge, and
But ma'am,
there
one
were
thing was
no
really
proper
nice that
vessel
we
to
all
collect.
pulled in. We like cooperated with each other. That was one thing during the discussion.
Lovely, lovely. So, but if in case I'm taking up other sessions also, we will definitely have some more activities in the next class so that we'll have ample time. Yeah. Okay. Now, which group is going to present first? Room 1 or room 2?
Well, ma'am, we can
Group
go
two.
ahead. Mayuri and our
Yeah.
group 2, room 2.
Room 2.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, one second. Hold on. Room 1, are you all there? Raise your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're going to
Yes,
validate. Okay, this is one good opportunity for you to evaluate the other team's presentation. Huh?
Ma'am, meanwhile, when we are presenting, you can put those questions on the screen so that would be easier for everyone.
Sure, I'll do that. Okay, all set. Go on.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. We are from team 2. So the need assessment. The first question is describe a general topic for which you wish to develop an instructional program. So for this, we have selected the general topic we have selected is induction, for the industry of manufacturing industry, and we would like to develop an instructional program for the new joinees. This is what we have decided, and the next question would be continued by Nidhi.
Hi, friends. As Dr. Mayuri said, our industry is automobile, and induction is our training method, training reasons. And describe who the learners are includes any relevant learner characteristics. So our learners are the graduate engineer trainee who has just joined the industry on automobiles, and any learner characteristics, yes, because they are just out of the college, and they would be getting introduced to an automobile industry where the working standards are very different. So if they would more of application on the floor would be required, like they're and since it's an automobile company, it is well equipped with all the quality policies and working policies to be maintained on the floor. So this is something very important. From the day one they get introduced into the industry. So this is what is our purpose of the training.
I would continue further, Nidhi, if you're okay.
Yes, Dipti, please go ahead.
In this corporate induction that we are actually inducing, the new joinees who are coming, we will be doing the cultural integration, value integration to them. We'll be talking about this is the college pass out, so grooming, etiquette, and everything. All those trainings would be there, a part of it. We'll be talking also about the departmental heads and the introduction, and we will try to. We have actually decided to go for 30, 60, 90 days integration, where they will be having a mentee throughout those days, and then it would work further. Anika, you want to go ahead, or Jeevan?
So the fourth question is describe why you think the need can be addressed by instruction. Since they are fresh hires, new joinees, we want them to follow a certain instructional program so that they they ramp up the learning process and join the industry as soon as possible. Now, since we want them to be trained on various aspects, the instructional needs will have to be further, decided upon with respect to what are the soft skills that they require and what are the skills they require in terms of technical training. I think that's it, guys. Anything else anybody wants to add?
I think Jyoti can summarize the description of learning need.
Yeah,
Jyoti?
not that one. The describe the learner's goal to be accomplished, as we have certain topics which we have decided as their needs. So with those, the trainees, they will be well apt with the HR regulation, HR and IT regulations, and the etiquettes and all the things which are required for freshers to be well behaved in an organization.
I'll just add to what Jeev and Jyoti has mentioned. In the how we want to describe the goals to be accomplished. Currently, the learner state of is that they are only aware about the etiquettes during their college, but the goal is that now the learners are able to apply those skills, business etiquette skills, email writing skills when on job. They are able to identify they're able to identify the need of POSH regulations within the organization, and they're able to effectively apply the environment health safety standards when on the shop floor, when on the floor, industry floor.
And ma'am, to summarize with the meaningful, worthwhile goal statement, we would like to say that it's a transition phase from being in college and a engineering college to applying all the knowledge on the floor. So our main purpose is that they get equipped with both the policies as well as how to work along with the peers as well as the management. So that's the main goal statement that we want to achieve during this program.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Fine.
Thank you.
So
Thank
room
you.
one, quickly, maybe I'm not going to take on feedbacks because we don't have time. So on a rating of 1 to 10, what is the rating then? This is just on a lighter note, okay? On a rating of 1 to 10, what is that you're going to give them? And
Even team 2 can rate.
8.
8. Who is that? Who mentioned?
Sudarshan.
Okay.
Thanks, Sudarshan.
Yogesh mentioned 8.
Thank you, Sudarshan and Yogesh.
It's really nice.
Remember,
Thank you so much.
remember,
Thank
room
you.
1 is going to present and room 2 is going to give
Correct.
positive
Get
kind
them,
of
ma'am.
ratings.
Think about it.
Going to be very strict
Give us
for
good marks.
sure.
So our rating has increased to 8.5 now.
Yeah. Fine. Now over to room 1.
Okay, thank you. So I'll start. Then we'll have Naren and Yogesh with us, and then the others can also join us. So हम लोग जिस टॉपिक पे एक इंस्ट्रक्शनल प्रोग्राम डिजाइन करेंगे, that will be crafting connections, the art of effective communication. Okay, so this will be the topic, and who will be the learners for us, and include any relevant characteristics. So the why did we choose this is एक MBA college के बच्चे जो अभी like they are going to be placed in within like next 4 months, and इनके लिए ये communication का पूरा batch चलेगा, जहाँ पे communication plus the interview skills, ये हम उन लोगों का देखा कि गैप है या वहाँ पे और थोरो हो सकते हैं. So these will be the people, and I think the background will be finance, if I'm not wrong. Naren ji, the background was finance.
Yes, you
Yes,
can.
okay. Okay.
We can go ahead.
Now, what was the third question? Like, what is the need? So, Naren ji, would you like to put some light on it? The
Need is to presently the students are in their final year. So now the next big thing for them is to get into any corporate with their present degree and qualifications, and what they need is they need interviewing skills and this communication skills what Sudarshan has just talked about. So to be more specific, they need verbal and non-verbal communication skills to get into this corporate. So
Absolutely.
that is the need we have identified.
Yes, because
And
during the classroom presentations and the classroom interactions, जो intensive communication चाहिए, that does not happen in the college or the campus classroom, but something that happens on real corporate floor, that is way different than that. So at least they'll be ready to face that. I would not say that ready to fight with that, but at least हाँ, उनको समझ में आएगा कि वहाँ पे क्या चल रहा था. So that was the need that we wanted to address. And what is the next thing that they need that can be addressed by the instructions? Okay, Yogesh ji, would you like to put some light here?
Yes, as you rightly mentioned that we have captured two things here, verbal and non-verbal. In verbal, we'll incorporate their, communication skill like on grammar, we will focus on, and we will focus on in category of non-verbal, like how they are, like even a single thing like nodding the head, or, it also matters whether, and in this, like how they are responding without orally communicating or communicating orally. So that matters a lot. So that also adds some time, how you are, because listening is also a kind of communication. Okay, you are listening and you are just nodding a lot, nodding your head, acknowledging yes what you are receiving properly. So the communication is not just one way, it is two way always. And you are receiving means you are also getting it. Yes,
Absolutely.
Narayan.
हाँ,
Yeah.
बस एक आध चीज और जो हमने ऐड किया था, that was that when somebody is at the floor, the corporate floor, so उनका जो walking style है, उनका sitting posture है, how they pick things, how they go to the other person and ask something. So that all comes under that communication, and that's why like we have made it the making connections, the like crafting connections. So वो इसलिए हमने नाम रखा था. Like I want somebody to please summarize it so we can get our ratings.
yeah, the last one thing we need to mention is meaningful, worthwhile goal statement. So the meaningful, worthwhile goal statement for us for this particular training is campus to corporate. So with this, I want to conclude. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, very nice. One small thing that I picked out is that when you had mentioned the need, instructional need, I mean, verbal and non-verbal communication is lacking. So, it is a solution. Verbal and non-verbal communication is a solution that you give, and it cannot become a need, basically. Okay, you can present it in a different statement. Rather, when instead of telling that their need is verbal and non-verbal communication, the need should be like they are lacking in terms of words. Their pronunciation, or the grammatical errors they make in terms of the choice of words. These are lacking. Their body language is not up to the mark. So these can be the problem statements for which you're understanding the need. The solution is verbal and non-verbal communication. Okay, so this one thing that I found, a little thing, to be corrected kind of a thing. Otherwise, all okay. So now, room 2. So what is your validation for them? Room 2, are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Boliye.
8, ma'am.
8. You gave me 8, so I give you 8.
मैम इन्होंने चीटिंग किया लास्ट लाइन में. इन्होंने हमारी पिकअप लाइन उठाई मैम, ट्रांजिशन वाली.
Okay, lovely.
8.5, ma'am.
Huh? No, it's going to be
8.5.
1 mark, one cumulatively discussed mark that you can give them. That's it.
Ma'am, I would give 7.
7. So on an average, they'll have to calculate. Huh?
8.
Okay, all right. So applause to all of you who actively contributed to this activity, which has little challenges in terms of the time, in terms of the number of people. But then I think, over a virtual platform, I really wanted to make you all participate. So that is the intention of this. Otherwise, well done. And this is the way to go. And you're all in line with, what we are all talking about. So kudos to all of you. All right. So with this, we will wind up today's session.
I have a question, may I?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ma'am, no, this is not a question. This is something is my understanding. I just want a validation from you if it's right or no. We always talk about TNI, TNA. And when I discuss this with my training friends, okay, in my own fraternity, they always say it's same. But I always feel that's not same because training need, I'm working and I'm doing this. Identification is something which could be like 360 degree, 180 degree, or even self 90 degree. But when I talk about assessment could be